So it's confirmed. There's almost no way the summer 2021 exams will be cancelled here in England. But it's not without reason. So let's have a look at the facts and see exactly what's going on. Before we start, I'd just like to say a quick big thank you to everyone for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. It means a lot to me that so many of you want to listen to me and want to get updates and news and use me as a resource to, reach your goals and get to where you want to in life. So yeah, I'll just keep doing it and make sure to keep tuning in. So without further ado, let's jump in. So this video is going to be the first of two. This one, I'm just going to focus on doing a brief summary of exactly what Ofqual announced. And in the next one, I'll go into a little bit more depth and look at why they've chosen to make these announcements and why they've chosen these decisions and, give my opinion on whether they're good or bad decisions. So on Thursday, the 3rd of December, Ofqual and the chief regulator put out statements and documents outlining exactly what Ofqual were going to propose during this academic year for the 2021 summer exams. And that's here in England. Scotland and Wales and other parts of the UK are of course doing their own thing, but we're talking about here in England. And Schools Week broke it down nicely, so I'll use their 8 points as a base to create this video. So I'll put the links down in the description below, so be sure to check those out if you want to see the entire article and the bigger breakdown of these before my next video comes out. So as we know, we've already had a 3-week delay added by the Minister for Education. He already did that a few months ago. But these proposals that Ofqual has announced today will be in addition to those 3 weeks of delay, or those 3 extra weeks of revision that we've been given towards the end of this year. So Ofqual's new proposals in regards to exams are that 1, in recognition of the challenges faced by students this year, students will be graded more generously in line with national outcomes from 2020. So to put this in simple terms, we know that back in summer 2020, the grades were higher than they would have normally been during a GCSE or A-level set of assessments. And so the next set of grades will also be in line with that in terms of the generosity given. And that's because, of course, you students, you year 11s, 12s and 13s who are doing exams right now, you've had your learning disrupted the same as those year 11s, 12s and 13s did last year. Number 2, every subject will receive the same level of generosity so that some students won't be advantaged over others just simply based on their choice of subject. So say for example, history had loads of changes that made it easier, but science didn't. Then that would mean that those people who picked history and those who went for triple science, there'd be a disparity in how easy it was for them to get their grade, or get top grades anyway. So they're going to try and make it even in terms of the changes and the generosity that are given along all the subjects, so that there's no disadvantage or advantages depending on what subject you chose. Number 3, students in GCSE, AS and A levels will be given some of the topics covered in the exams so that they can focus their revision. So that means that ahead of exams, you'll know what's in the exams, some of them anyway. And I'm not sure how I feel about this because it will essentially just be asking you to show off your exam answering skills and your memorization skills. So I'm not sure if that's really the aim of what assessment should be about, but I'll do a little bit more reading on that and see exactly how this is going to work. Number 4, exam aids and formula sheets will be allowed in some exams to reduce the amount some students need to memorize. And this sounds fair to me. To be honest, I don't know why in the past they've made you have to memorize so many formulas when in the real world, I'm fairly certain that people can just look this stuff up. If they need it, they have their reference sheets next to them to access. Although, of course, memorizing this stuff is always going to be useful. Memorizing stuff is always useful. And number 5, there'll be additional exams for students who miss an exam due to illness or self-isolation. Now, this was one of the biggest worries that a lot of people had about the exams. What happens if you have to self-isolate? What happens if you have to self-isolate twice, in fact? Because self-isolating once is, of course, 2 weeks. Self-isolating twice could be as much as 4. So to make sure that nobody misses all their exams or misses their exams, they've put in place these contingency exams, which can be taken later, just in case. But, of course, you have to back it up with valid reasoning for why you actually weren't in the exam. Barring that, number 6 is that where there is a legitimate reason for missing all the papers, so that's contingency as well as the normal exams, then students will be given a validated teacher-informed assessment. Okay, so whatever that means, I'll have to look into and I'll explain for you later. But it sounds like a form of CAG, but with a bit more external sort of supervision, so that it's as fair as possible. Either way, I would not risk trying to be sick throughout the whole thing so that you end up with that validated teacher grade, because you don't know whether it will work in your favour or not. At least with the exam, you know your knowledge and you can be fairly confident in your own ability. So I wouldn't try cheating the system that way. Number 7, there's going to be a new expert group that will look into the different learning experiences up and down the country. And that's during the pandemic. So of course, we know that certain areas have been affected worse than others. So especially the north of England has been really badly affected, as opposed to some areas in the south. So they'll be looking into how each area has been adversely affected in the academic sense, and they'll be trying to figure out ways in which they can sort of chime in and maybe appeal to universities to be a bit more lenient on certain students and things like that. So it's not really clear how exactly this is going to work, and it doesn't actually seem like they know exactly how they're going to go about doing what they're doing, but that's the point in the group. They're supposed to research and then make decisions based on that. So it's something. And the final point A, students taking vocational and technical qualifications, so these are the VTQs and other subjects like that, you guys will have some adaptations to your courses and exams and assessments too, to make sure that you're on the same sort of level playing field with the rest of the students, because of course you've experienced disruption too. Even though your assessments might be slightly different, you've still experienced that disruption to your learning and to your normal daily school life or college life. So that's good that there's some sort of parity being created there. Now, my assumption for international GCSEs and IGCSEs and international A-levels, because I know that there's lots of you who are going to be asking about this, my assumption is that we're going to see a similar thing with those as well. One of the main reasons being that many people take the IGCSEs and international A-levels in England as well, so we need to make sure that they're being graded along the same levels as, and being assessed along the same levels as their classmates who are just taking the standard English GCSEs. So my guess is that there will be some sort of modification made to those to make them match up. So nothing definite at the moment, and I will continue to look into this, but don't worry too much. I'm sure that across the board they're trying to make this as fair as possible and try and even the playing field among everybody doing assessments this year. So that's it. A few pretty big changes and also some relief in terms of the fact that we now know exactly what's happening moving forward. There will be no cancellation as far as we're concerned. Unless things change drastically in a very short amount of time, there probably will be no cancellation. So tell me, what do you think of these changes? And do you think they'll be helpful? Are you feeling a little less anxious now that, you know, there's been a bit more confirmation of what's exactly going to happen in 2021, even though, of course, we haven't got the full picture yet? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd be really interested in hearing your opinion on this. And as mentioned before, this video is just the first one. The second one should be coming out soon. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss that video. And yeah, feel free to look through the documents that are linked down below. I'm going to take another look through everything that's been put out just to make sure that I understand exactly what's going on. And hopefully I'll have that next video up in the next few days. So that's all for now. Until next time.